Oh. Septarian calendar year 1207, September. I'm sorry, but I cannot accept. I flatly refuse. Upon hearing what I said, the sturdy and bear-like senior bracer Zin Vathek had a troubled expression. Oh, Zin! Sorry, same response again, huh? I've said this before, but isn't it time that you resign yourself to this and accept it? Zin is a very respected senior bracer whose strength and character stands out among all of us. When I was just a junior bracer, Zin had been one that guided and took care of me. That's why I don't want to make things harder for him, but unfortunately, these are two completely different issues. I've also said this many times already, my strength and experience are not at the level of an A-rank bracer. I'm sorry, but I have to refuse again. Bracers are ranked according to their strength and their achievements, with A rank being the highest listed rank. Just by being A rank makes you feel like you're carrying the entire weight of the guild. It's for this reason that you must adhere strictly to the qualifications when appointing someone to this rank. I still don't know why I was given a promotion to A rank half a year ago. It's been a few years since I graduated from school and joined the Bracer Guild. I've been improving and getting stronger at my own pace. I've also completed many quests, so I can't say I'm a novice anymore. But I can say for sure that I'm not qualified for a promotion to A rank. Although I refused the recommendation, Lehman HQ would not stop pestering me, such as asking about what my aspirations are or what I want to do. I honestly don't know how many times I've been asking this already or if it will stop. Nope. As far as I can see it, you have the talents to excel in the world of an A rank bracer. Why do you still reject the offer? I feel that Lehman HQ forces in to try and persuade me to accept the promotion. Zin just sat there, forcing a smile and crossing his arms over his chest, head tilted with a perplexed look on his face. I feel that Zin has been overly praising me. I really don't want to be in the spotlight as much as I am now. In fact, not only I have been invited to star in a movie, I've also been requested to model for some magazine. The guild had already been super patient with me while I would continuously reject their offers, but if I actually do achieve enough to earn an A rank promotion down the line, I wouldn't know what I would do. So that's how it is. Your recent successes coupled with your pretty appearances must have captured a lot of unwanted attention recently, huh? Seems like you've been getting a lot more fans lately as well. Why not accept the offer to star in the movie? Maybe you can snag an award at a film exhibition. Zin began to laugh while he joked. Sometimes Zin just loves to joke around to unnerve people. Oh please, don't joke around like that. I'm not exactly bothered by the attention, but in the end, I'm still just a bracer. I'm not qualified to do all these things. I'm not joking, you know. If you don't relax every once in a while, you're going to stumble at a critical moment. For someone as serious as you, you need to relax a bit. I don't exactly agree that I'm an uptight serious person, but I feel that his words might have some truth in them. Anyways, we've seemed to have deviated a bit from our conversation. There's something that's been on my mind for some time. Why does the guild want to promote me to A rank? I'll put it this way. Thanks to the Erebonian reparations, Calvert has seen unprecedented growth and prosperity. Everyone across Zemoria is flocking towards Calvert to try and strike it rich. I'm not an economist, but when Mira begins to circulate heavily, more and more people join in. And when that happens, tensions rise. That's the kind of situation we're dealing with right now. I begin to see where Zin was going and decided to add a few words of my own. That's because of the boom that a lot of issues began to spring up. Corporations are fighting each other. Jaegers and private military companies have become more active. Smaller gangs and mafias have begun to fight in the open. Order is breaking down. Yeah, the situation is only going to get worse. That's why Lumen HQ is trying to strengthen our presence in Calvert. One of those initiatives is to promote you, our ace and shining star of the young generation, A rank. With people like you in the public, we should be swimming in new recruits, and with your talents, you should be able to stand up against any threats that stand in your path. I started to become aware that this could be the case, but is it really the reason? If so, if that's the case, then you should have accepted that offer. Recommendation for S rank. A recommendation to become an S rank bracer. If we're talking about maintaining control, then having an S rank here in Calvert will be a lot more impactful than a new A rank. When Zin heard what I said, he just awkwardly scratched his head. Alright, compare my skills and achievements versus Cassius. He has beat me in everything. How can I say that I'm worthy of an S rank? Also, S rank is more of a ceremonial title anyways. Do you think an old man like me will get us some new recruits? It doesn't matter how strong you are, how much you've achieved, or how fit you are. Our job as a bracer is to protect the citizens and the peace. That alone should be fulfilling, yes? I confidently replied. Well, I'm in no position to talk for other people, so I won't pester you anymore with this. If you do change your mind on this, just let me know. And with that, our talk about the promotion ended here. Zin began to head out to take care of the request he accepted. Everything is still fine. I'm still me. There was a time when I felt I wanted to be a different person. I don't remember when it was, but it was definitely when I was still a child. At that time, I realized just how small my world was. So I longed, prayed, hoped that I would become a different person. There was a time when I felt that I changed into a different person. It was an unforgettable memory when I was in school. An unexpected reunion, receiving an important object. I felt closer to my ideal me. However, that was just an illusion. There was nothing left in my hands after I let go. I failed to become a different person. However, I still felt that I should move forward. Even if my family are against me, I will insist on choosing my own fate. But on this path, I still haven't found anything similar to the past that I long for. I just don't want to be anyone at all. Forward, forward, forward. I can only think of moving forward. Oh hey, welcome. I walked into a cafe that I frequent a lot. The bartender greeted me with the usual wink and wave. He's a tall man who has a very unique style of dress and loves to take care of other people. I've been to the Crossbow branch a few times to help out, and I have to say that the receptionist there and him have so many similarities. They should definitely meet one day. I walked up to the bar and took a seat near the counter. There doesn't seem to be many people today. The bartender came up to me with a smile and asked, "The usual, I take it?" I usually come here after I finish my bracer duties for the day. Usually I get a simple meal and coffee, but today I'm in the mood for something different. No, get me some alcohol. Beer would be fine too. After hearing my vague order, the bartender went behind his counter. After a while, the bartender placed a special looking glass cup in front of me. This will fit you a lot better than beer today. The bartender began to prepare a special cocktail. Its surface began to shine like an azure stone in the clear sky, and then turned to a calming shade of jade. The bartender definitely sees how distressed I am and wants to comfort me. I thanked him with the bottom of my heart and asked him about the reason why I'm even here. About that situation, do you have any news for me? The bartender also serves as an intelligence broker. Not only does he have connections with the Bracer Guild, but he's still got informants in both the mass media and underground organizations. However, there's a limit on what he can talk about. I'll swing by whenever I have some intel that I need. Yes, about that. I asked Dingo, but I didn't really get a lead on anything. You're looking into some pretty dubious stuff, you know. Besides, the other party's going to get smoked out soon enough. It's just a matter of exactly when. Is that so? The guild investigation came up short. We originally expected to have maybe captured someone, but it seems that isn't an easy task. Worrying about it constantly isn't going to help. You need to relax a bit. You still have plenty of your cocktail left. Please enjoy and savor it slowly. As the bartender left, I began to sip quietly as I thought deeply about the incident at hand. The root of the problem lies with the increasing amount of illegal drugs circulating. A lot of addictive and toxic goods have penetrated the market. Originally, the black market dealer Hayaway were the ones that controlled this market. They regulated everything about the trading of these goods from the prices to quantities. It's obviously something that we shouldn't just leave unwatched, but we can't deny that it's helped to maintain some sort of order within the black market. However, in the past few years, a lot of other shady organizations have begun to revolt against the norm. Our culprit is definitely one of those groups. Anyways, the reason the guild decided to take on the case was because of a case of missing persons and its possible connection to these groups. Last month, the police and the guild received a request to help find 2 children under the age of 10, a pair of siblings. One day, they just left home only to never return. The 2 children grew up in a family of commoners. The family environment was loving and caring, so this is definitely not a runaway case. We originally thought that the children were kidnapped and held for ransom, but the family didn't receive any threatening letters or requests of Mira. The guild and police assigned more people to take over the case, but our last few attempts were futile. It couldn't be found. Our efforts weren't in vain, however, since it was discovered that the children were last seen in a shady part of the city, a place where the illegal drug trade was widespread. It's only speculation at this point, but we thought that the children may have seen an illegal trade happening. They then were captured and possibly killed, so there wouldn't be no trace. If that's the case, then the longer this case goes on, the more in danger the children will be in it. These criminal organizations are not dumb enough to leave ample amounts of evidence behind, however, so they could have been either killed or sold abroad by now. Whatever the situation is, we most likely will not get them back safe and sound. Of course, this is all speculation since we have no concrete evidence to back these claims. We also still do not know which organizations did it, or find the base of whichever mafia is running the drug trade. The situation is a bit uncomfortable. Even if we wanted to take action, we have no idea what to do or where to start. If only we could capture a suspicious person and interrogate them, we could break this impasse. But that would be a violation of not only the rules of the Bracer Guild, but also our core beliefs. If we Bracers want to become a trustworthy partner of justice, we cannot resort to using underhanded tactics. If I'm to be honest, there are incidents where Bracers alone cannot solve it all, and the innocent people will inevitably be hurt. We're just in a big dilemma. A case where Bracers alone are having a tough time. When I unconsciously said that, I began to see in my mind a person. Someone with black curly hair, with a blue luster, a nostalgic face, and rumors about him. A childhood friend of mine suddenly came back to the city a few years ago. He suddenly found a job, questionable one at that. It seems that from time to time, he ends up sticking his neck into disputes in the underworld too. Just what is that idiot doing? Leaving without permission, returning without permission. If we meet nowadays, it's just going to be an awkward between the two of us. I spent a lot of time searching for him and a lot of years waiting, just to find out he took a job in a somewhat shady business. Anyways, because of my duties as a Bracer, I cannot spend more time worrying about others. Besides, since you came back, why don't you come to see me? Don't you understand just how worried I've been? The more I thought about it, the more angry I got. I threw my cocktail. Alcohol only served to make the anger boiling inside me rage more fiercely. My anger burned. It blazed. It burned ever stronger until eventually only ashes remained. Distant memories started to flash before my eyes before disappearing. After all that, I just began to feel discouraged. Why? Why did you just abandon me like that? I unwittingly blurted that line out suddenly. I felt like I was a child once more. What if someone saw me like this? Still thinking about the old days? Oop, hold on. A familiar voice suddenly rang out in my ears and sent shivers down my spine. I hurriedly tried to think of an excuse to explain everything. I just wanted to complain a bit, that's all. I tried to sound as calm as I could. But in reality, those few sentences were not enough. Even a few hundred would not be enough, but the way I said it seemed to be devoid of happiness. If you can say that much with only a few sentences, that's pretty impressive. The man with glasses seemed to see right through me. He then took a seat next to me. I didn't have any appointment set up, so this meeting was merely a coincidence. This person is another childhood friend of mine and older than me by 1 year. Although we all went down different paths, the three of us used to always be together. If you're this worried, why don't you pay him a visit? You should at least have grasped where he lives, right? How could I after so long? When he heard me speak in a low voice like that, I felt that he was softly smiling at me. Forget about it, don't worry too much. As long as we continue to strive for our own goals, we'll definitely meet again. Hold on a second. There we go. Forget about it, don't worry too much. As long as we can strive for goals, we'll definitely all meet again. Hearing him say that caught me by surprise. It's not like you to say something sentimental like that. Well, I'm not like that fool. Anyways, let's have a toast. You have to get something non-alcoholic though. Really, please don't treat me like a kid anymore. Afterwards, we began to reminisce about the past. Now that I think about it, I haven't chatted like this with him for a long time. Although the two of us haven't drifted apart from each other, our work and goals leave us with few opportunities to chat like this. Oh yeah, you rejected your A rank promotion, right? As expected of a CID officer, this news has already reached your ears? Although this wasn't a confidential issue, he seemed to have a firm grasp on the situation at hand, which is expected given his job. There isn't really any bad blood between the bracers, who put public safety first, and the CID, who strictly follow the president's orders. Our positions are just fundamentally different from each other. Well, I'm not going to urge you to accept it. Hold on a second. Oh, I'm ahead. Okay. As expected of a CID officer, this news has already reached the ears. Although this wasn't a confidential issue, he seemed to have great harassment. This isn't really any bad blood between racers who put public safety and CID first. We strictly follow okay. Well, I'm not going to urge you to accept it. He quickly paused for a moment, then continues to speak with a more serious tone. But we need a hero more than ever right now. A hero? Just what does that mean? A realist like him would never say anything like this. I wanted to ask him about it quickly, but he quickly cut to the chase. Regarding the case about those siblings, the CID is with you on this case. My other childhood friend turned a blind eye to my startled self and continued to speak. We have some strong evidence about a certain organization at that district. We'll be working with the police in accordance to our agreement for the case. You can do as you see fit. After all this time, we finally have some intel to work with. Since it's intel from the CID, there's no reason to believe it's wrong. Anyways, it's time for us to make our move. Moving forward step by step, only recently was I aware that I've been standing in the same place. If I continue onwards, I'll only become a different person. I can feel it deep in my heart, a very scared feeling. Fear that I may once lose something or be hurt again. Thoughts like this make me hesitant to move forward. I don't feel like I'm very strong. That's why I've been striving to improve myself every day. Therefore, I pick up my sword and brandish it without hesitation. So if I come across an unimaginable situation, I know that I can endure whatever challenges come my way. I quickly sidestep to the left and shift my center of gravity. I then make a sharp turn to the right and slash one of them with my sword. I take advantage of their confusion to charge and stab the other person. The two Mafia members cried out one by one and collapsed to the ground. These two are from the criminal organization that I've been investigating thanks to the tip-off of a few days ago, and now I'm finally going to sneak into their base. Thanks to my childhood friend's intel, we're finally able to put our full strength to use. But the intel alone wasn't enough to identify their actual base. The next day, Zin and the other bracers came up with a plan. We would split up and attack all possible bases at the same time. After seeing everything in front of me, I could tell that I've won the lottery. Found their actual base. I found one! Over here! It's an intruder! Wait, isn't that girl in that magazine? It looks like two more members found me. I won't give them a single opportunity. I quickly dashed forward and swung at both of them as I passed. The two men didn't even have a chance to draw their weapons before they were felled. With those two dealt with, I headed deeper into the base. They must have been alerted about an intruder because numerous Mafia began to stream out consciously. There's the intruder. I've seen her before. She's that female bracer that's been talking to the town lately. That's no good then, right? What are we going to do if someone like the Immovable shows up? Stop carrying, you idiot. She broke in alone. We have the means to deal with her. The Mafia members all lunged forward to attack at once. There has to be at least 10 of them, with even more streaming out of their base. I'm heavily outnumbered and it's going to be tough to get through them all with just me and my sword. Although waiting for Zin and the others is a smart move here, time is of the essence and siblings will be even in more danger. I'm going to eliminate them all to make sure that the siblings will be safe. Even if there are this many enemies, there's nothing for me to be scared of. If they were trained soldiers, their formations and tactics would be the bulk of their strength. Their power would be proportional to their numbers. But these Mafia members do not look like trained soldiers. They are nowhere near the strength of someone like a Heiwei member. At best, they are second or third rate soldiers. If they're coordinated tactics, I'm just a single person and they are just going to get in the way of each other trying to go for me. Their numbers advantage me nothing and their strength has been diminished. I also need to pay attention to their movements and always be on the move. If the enemy has a gun, I need to block their line of sight with other enemies. I need to make sure that all of their melee members are clumped together so they would hinder each other's movements. Then once I spot a weak point, I strike. 1, 2. It is easiest to create a gap when the enemy is pushed back. I kept this in mind as I broke out into a sprint once more, charging at them with high speed. I began to move erratically to throw off the enemy. Once I get near someone, I quickly slash as I run past them. 3, 4. I began to outflank them, dashing in and out, always being aware of my position and what's behind me. Soon, I made it to the back of the group. Their rear guard were all concentrated in groups in the back. They raised their guns in a panic, but it was too late. They didn't expect me to break through like that. None of them are suited for close range combat. I dashed in and made short work of them with my sword. 5, 6, 7. About half of them have fallen. The rest were stunned at what happened and began to lose the will to fight. Some of them began to charge recklessly in desperation. In their rush, some gunners misfired and began hitting their own allies. Once the battle has reached this point, my victory is all but decided. Now, I just need to keep my guard up and take the rest of them down one by one. As I moved forward, I kept running to several smaller groups of Mafia goons, but I easily swatted them down. I went on deeper into the complex and finally, I found him, the leader of this Mafia group. This middle-aged man was pacing anxiously around his luxurious and tasteless room. The moment he saw me, he started to tremble. "How are you in here? What happened to my men?" I took them all out. I responded calmly. The leader looked at me incredulously and shouted, "You're joking. How can a silly girl like you single-handedly defeat my organization that I've built all by myself?" I took this chance to get close to him and drew my sword and pointed at him. Almost immediately, I heard an ear-shattering wail come out from him. "I'm not just some silly girl. I'm a bracer, you know. Don't worry. Your men are all either unconscious or unable to move. I don't take lives. Now come along and join them in jail." That's all I was going to say, but I sharply glanced at him and pointed my sword at his throat. "But before that, you're going to give me some answers. You have no right to refuse or remain silent. Understand?" He had a frightened expression and began to tremble as he slowly nodded. "Last month, a pair of siblings, a boy and a girl under 10, went missing. Were you behind the kidnapping?" He nodded. "Really? Alright then, are the 2 children safe? Where are they right now?" "Here, they're right here, in the room behind us. They're still alive." The moment I heard that, I felt relieved beyond measure. Our original mission has been completed. There are still things I need to know, however. I began to question him about the Mafia itself. For a Mafia that controls this region, you guys are really nothing special. I found this ledger of yours while I made my way through this place. You guys are just subcontractors, are you? After hearing that word, it was as if I hit a nerve. He continued to be silent, but also stopped nodding or shaking his head. This response already told me everything. "Answer me. Which organization do you answer to? Is it A? B? D?" I began to act tougher to try and weasel out an answer. The scared and trembling man was about to answer when I suddenly heard some strange noises from the hallway behind me. I drew my sword and took off, prepared for whatever battle may be ahead. I started to hear strange sounds in the distance. The mysterious sounds kept ringing through the hallway. It was an eerie noise that made me even shudder. It became more and more clear as I ran. I thought I heard a few groans, but those were almost immediately silenced. Sensing something, I immediately steeled myself and prepared to retaliate against attacks from all directions. I continued to move slowly across the hallway. At the end, I saw the most horrifying scene. At the location in which I had just fought, all I could see were piles of meat where there used to be people. It was not just 1 or 2, the entire floor was strewn with corpses as far as the eye could see. Some were decapitated, some had their internal organs ripped out and minced. Others had their head crushed. Others still had their hearts ripped from their bodies. All I could see was death, by means of which I could not fathom nor stomach. Before long, the floor was completely drenched by a river of blood. What cruelty! What kind of person would do this? This tragedy laid bare in front of me was too much. I clenched my hands so hard that I began to tremble. Why did it have to be this brutal? What is the meaning of... Could it be? Oh no. Oh no! I just realized my mistake. I quickly turned around and rushed back into the room I came from. I was too late. In the middle of the room, the leader was floating in the center of the room. Blood was dripping from his mouth. He would no longer utter anything again. A massive sword was embedded in his chest. He's definitely dead. Like his subordinates back out there, he didn't even have a chance to scream. Who are you? I tried to hold back my anger and sound a bit more brave as I shouted at the empty room. I looked down the room and saw nothing except the dead man in the center. I looked a lot more carefully around the room and saw something. A distortion in the space along with a fuzzy outline. This is definitely some optical camouflage. It would be more courteous of you to announce your first name, right? The beautiful ace of the Bracer Guild. It sounded like a man's voice. He sounded extremely arrogant and proud. It seemed like he thought he was above everyone else. I unconsciously prepared myself for combat. The man didn't react to my movements and instead continued to speak. Why are you so agitated? Stand down. There's no need to fight. I'm only here to clean up after the idiots that got cut up by the CID. After thinking about what had just transpired outside, I couldn't help but think. Clean up? The speaker doesn't even sound like they are human. Are you their partner? No, you're probably their superior. Correct, you are. As the man spoke, he casually tossed the corpse of the leader aside, as if he was tossing a cigarette butt. You bastard. How can you do this to your men? My own men? I'm afraid you've misunderstood me. Didn't I say that I was here to clean up? There's only trash here, completely disposable. The only difference is if they're living or not. I just couldn't find a way to communicate with them at all. My body began to tremble as I seized with anger, and I soon began to take action. You are an inhuman monster. As I came to my senses, I immediately made my move, putting all my strength and speed into my sword as I made an unavoidable stab. However, he just slashed down with his sword and parried my attack. It was at this moment that I realized how strong this person was. He just effortlessly stopped my attack with perfect timing. His strength seemed limitless, and his speed as fast as lightning. That cruciform sword of his, although it was partially camouflaged, it couldn't hide its strange energy. There were strange silver and black patterns, as if both holy and devilish energies resided in together. This is not an ordinary weapon. Even if I used all of my strength and training, my odds of beating him are really low. But I told myself, I cannot let this man escape. I decided to attack again. If my frontal assault fails, I will attempt to flank him with as much speed as I could muster so that I could make a strike again. He blocked my attack with ease. But it's not over yet. I kept myself on my feet, continuously moving and attacked, growing faster with each passing moment. Attack, accelerate, attack, accelerate, attack, accelerate, attack, accelerate. Once I reached my maximum speed, I began to change my movements. I quickly wrapped around him. I attacked him with all my strength. I saw his camouflaged outline distort a bit. Success! Suddenly, as if he'd seen this move coming, he quickly drew his weapon and made a large arc in the air and tried to strike me. I immediately put up a defensive posture, but the hit was so powerful it sent a shockwave all over my body. In spite of the fact that I was able to defend against the brunt of the attack, the force of the fatal attack caused my body to quiver. My body was still trembling, but I managed to stand up and made eye contact with the man. His strength is overwhelming. That man alone could control an entire battlefield with skills like his. It's as if he reached heights of power that any martial artist could hope for. Beyond that, it's as if he's reached enlightenment. He saw through my posture that I was bluffing and just chuckled. Not bad, not bad. You're stronger than the rumor suggests, eh? You made the things a lot more fun for me. You're obviously extremely strong. What is your purpose for all this? I didn't think he would answer my question, but he stood there and thought about it for a while before responding. Purpose? It would definitely be for Fear. Fear? I had no idea what he was going on about, so I asked again. Fear is the driving force behind existence. Domination, obedience, new life, coexistence, and even order. None of this would be possible without the presence of fear. That is why I'm pursuing the ultimate fear. It's like the Tower of Babel in Crossbell half a year ago. Shame that it doesn't exist anymore, though. He said this in an excited and cheerful tone. I cannot see his face, but I can imagine just what his expression looks like. There's no doubt that this man is as serious about what he said. You're mad. You'll understand what I'm talking about one day, if you continue to try and resist my plans idly like this. He put down his sword. It seemed like he was finished with his work here. I'll give you a reward for your help in cleaning up here. You'll find the two kids a bit deeper in this complex. Oh, and before our next meeting, I do hope you work hard on improving yourself. He then just turned and left. Wait, get back here! As I reached out with my hand, the ground under his feet began to glow and shimmer. When the light faded, he was completely gone. He used some kind of transport technique to escape. I felt my strength leaving my body. It's not because I was relieved the kids were safe. In fact, it's the complete opposite. I know that I will have regrets down the line for not being able to beat this man today. The thoughts of that alone made my legs weak as I struggled to stay standing. So, this is the real me. I've been the same ever since that important person left me. I'm just a little girl who couldn't do anything. My work here is still unfinished. I walked deeper into the place and found a small room at the end. I opened the door and found what seems to be a storage room. The two children I've been looking for were at the back of the room. They were huddled in a corner. The older brother was shaking while the younger sister was leaning on him. I'm here to rescue you. You don't have to worry anymore. I tried my best to speak as softly and gently as I could. When the little girl saw my face, she slowly began to smile while her brother kept his head hung. I began to slowly walk into the room. The boy continued to tremble while shaking his head, desperately trying to get away from me. Fear is the driving force behind existence. The man's voice echoed through my head. The children are trapped in a prison of fear. I tried my best to not upset the boy as I approached him. The closer I got, the more resistance he showed. When I was within arm's reach of the boy, he became more and more agitated, as if he wanted to scream but no words would come out. Please don't worry. I smiled at him and he tried to comfort him. Suddenly, I reached behind me and grabbed a knife. I turned my head to see the girl holding a knife. She took advantage of me getting closer to her brother by trying and wrap around and stab me. She looked astonished that I managed to block her attack. Her smiling expression had disappeared. Her expression was blank, as if she was in a daze. Fear can dominate a person. It's just like what he said. Maybe you two encountered something so frightening and awful that it forced you to try such a thing. Try and stab someone who came to save you. Perhaps this was a result of fear taking over their heart and mind. Because I grabbed the knife with my bare hands, I felt blood sliding down my hands. It doesn't matter. I continued to speak to the girl as gently as I could. The situation isn't easy to resolve. Humans are not driven only by fear. We can choose to resist. To use our courage to resist. It's like what your brother showed here. Despite him trembling in fear, he still had the courage to attempt to alert me that danger was coming, to prevent his sister from making a mistake. It was thanks to him that I was able to stop her attempt on my life. Please, there's no need to worry. No more worrying. Your big bracer sister is here to protect you. As I said those words, I hugged the girl tightly. Ray, sir? As her words reached my ears, I could tell that she was still empty, as if she was numb. You're right. I'm a bracer. I'm here for you. Really? I'm seeing Big Sister in magazines several times. I remember, you were the sword. Exactly. Although, it's a bit embarrassing to use a nickname like that, at least it's easy to remember. As long as that name still exists, as long as I'm still here by your side, I will always protect you. I hugged the girl even tighter to protect her from harm, and to mend her broken hearts. So please, no more worrying. Everything is alright now. Soon the girl's expression began to change. It wasn't long before there were tears in her eyes and she began to sob. She began to cry more and more. Eventually, it got to a point where she couldn't stop. It was at this moment that the girl was free from fear, when she finally regained her human emotions. I'm still standing at the same place, paralyzed by fear and unable to move. Even so, this is the honorable path that I have chosen. There's no turning back. There's no stopping now. So I finally decided. Later, in the capital of Calvard's branch office, it seems that Mafia was trying to intimidate that organization. Zin and I were discussing the case together. It turns out that the siblings were witnesses to some illegal trading, so they were taken away. The Mafia had only wanted to try and follow the rumored tactics of the organization. Try and educate the children into being cold-hearted assassins. Turns out their efforts to traffic drugs and educate them were poorly executed. To be caught by not only the CID but your parent organizations. Such a pity. If only I had worked harder and handled it properly, it wouldn't have all died. Don't worry about it too much. Remember that the guild's mission is to protect the general public. This is the price that you pay for entering that kind of society. If you still feel like you're not strong enough, then take this mission's lessons to heart and use it for your next case. The siblings that I had rescued had to go through therapy for some time. It was said that they were able to go back in their original lives in the end. My meeting with that pair had inspired me. I can't just be stagnant and make no headway. I have to keep moving forward. Even if I trip or fall down in the future, it won't matter in the end. We need a hero more than ever right now. Oh, screenshot! I remembered what my childhood friend had said. Even if it's a symbolic title, it doesn't matter. Even though I don't think that I have the qualifications to be that hero, at least I can still be the hope that eradicates the darkness. I've decided that this is the road I want to go down. That way, if a qualified hero does show up one day, I'll be with them side by side. Alright, the next up is today's main event. Zern turned to face me. Seemed to be a lot more happier than usual. The official documents from Lehman will take a while to get here, but we don't need to be that formal here. Therefore, Calvard finally has a candidate to beat out the Purple Lightning's record for youngest A-rank bracer. Oh, wow. Congratulations, Sword Maiden. A-rank bracer. Elaine Auclair. Sword Maiden. Sword Maiden. And so, the girl with the sword in hand presses forward. And so, the girl with sword in hand presses forward. End. Oh, more dialogue after finishing all three. Confirmation of the halting of the recordings of the laws of causality. Astral link complete. With this, the intertwining chronicle of the history of Erebos and the Land of Destiny has reached its end. However, the bells signifying the end of time are resonating. Humanity, until the time comes for you to confront those days, enjoy your moments of peace. Together, with hope and despair, move beyond the Genesis. And we're graced with the glorious sight of our LA inner swimsuit. Beautiful.